Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have myself a drink, and we're going to ask the question, is it important to conform to society? Before I drink any of that, let me remind you that for every 1,000 subscribers I get, I do purchase one of these bracelets from the company 4Ocean. 4Ocean pulls a pound of trash out of the ocean every time I do that. If you'd be so kind as to comment, like, and subscribe, you'd be doing your part for a better world. Now, is it important to conform to society? Yes and no. All right. One could consider the fact that I use a toilet conforming to society. There is no absolute requirement for me to use a toilet. I could go poop in my backyard. This would probably bother my neighbors. It would not be as sanitary, and it would save water, but it would not be generally good. Yes. But then, let's say somebody immigrates here from Mexico. There's enough Mexican culture in America for them to keep eating their traditional diet. But, they might conform to our society by eating more hamburgers or whatever have you. That's not important. It's one of those things, is that when you talk about conforming to society, what do you mean? There was a man, I forget his name, my old man, this is maybe 15, 20 years ago, somebody told me this story, that there was a man who was a Jew, okay, and, he was a traditional Jew in that at home, he would only consume kosher food, all right? So he refused to conform to our society when it was convenient. But when he was a politician, he had to go to a dinner or something, he would eat normal food. It's just that, his preference was kosher. So, he was one of those people. He had one refrigerator for dairy and one refrigerator for meat, and never the two shall meet. And if he was choosing a place to eat, he would choose a place where he could find a kosher option. So, he decided that he's not going to conform to our society when it's convenient. All right? Now, I, just before coming in here, saw a video of an African tribe. And of course, in that part of Africa, it's very hot. They wear very little in the way of clothing, And it's like you'll see there's this girl wearing regular glasses and this beaded top that comes to here, and her breasts are exposed. And, I know she's wearing some kind of a garment below the waist, but most of her posterior is visible. And it's like, if she came to America, there would be certain things she'd have to conform to. Covering up. That's society. All right? But do understand that our society is not a homogeneous thing. It has layers. And it's like, if I started hanging out in certain places in California, I would be expected to learn Spanish, drink tequila, and curse a lot. Okay? There are certain groups of people, that's their society. And you might say, well, they don't conform to society. Well, yeah, but what is society? How do you measure society? I'm an American. I speak with a standard American accent. Okay? That's my dialect. Well, if I were from Texas, I would talk a lot differently, right? Technically the same society, but different locations. Society has layers. Society has boundaries and such. Now, I mean, if you want to say, I'm not going to conform to society, I'm not going to pay my taxes, it's important to pay your taxes. It's the law. You have to pay your taxes. If you say, I'm not going to conform to society, I'm not going to, I don't know, wear socks. Well, nothing says you have to wear socks. So there are certain points where you do have to conform to society. You have to conform to society where safety and health are concerned. You do not have to conform to society where social choices are concerned. You know, homosexuality, for example, right? They don't conform to society. They've made up their own society. And there's nothing wrong with that. A homosexual should have the same rights as any other person, right? You should have the right to love who you want. Our society, places of our society, don't accept that. Well, you know, those people should not be required to conform. Now, if you want to talk about, well, should I speak English? Depends on where you live. You know, there are societies where obviously if I only speak English, this is a disadvantage. There are societies where, you know, I should learn the language in order to be able to communicate with regular people. You know? Is that something I absolutely would have to do? No, not necessarily. But it's something that would make my life easier. So, in a way, you know, it's like there's not a lot of choice in the matter. But, you know, it's every one of us deviates from the norm of society in some way, all right? I mean, there was a time in society that the normal thing to do was to go get a job, have 2.5 children, and own a home, lead what is considered a non-offensive life. All right, well, I mean, you can't have 2.5 children. You could have 2 children or you could have 3 children. So that's kind of how the world worked. So literally, it is impossible to become the norm. The norm is unobtainable. So to a certain extent, we all deviate from society in some way, shape, or form. It's just by how much? I mean, people that say, well, my religion says I can't use birth control. Okay, but, you know, your religion also says you can't have premarital sex and you can't cheat on your wife. So it generally says that you're not supposed to be having a lot of sex anyway. You don't got a lot of leverage there. But, you know, you could be as unique a person as you want to be. You can be as non-conformist as you want to be in society, so long as you don't harm other people. That's who you get to be. I remember I used to be driving about and I would see this truck that you could tell the owner had painted himself. He had painted every just spots on the truck with some kind of paint that worked. And, well, there's nothing wrong with that. You can do that if you want. It doesn't conform to our society, but who cares? You hurt no one. Now, if he had painted over the windshield, couldn't see. That would be hurting somebody. Unless he's not driving the truck. If he's driving the truck around, then that's a problem. Okay? We live in a world. You can drive your truck however you want to. Paint your truck however you want to. That's fine. Okay. You can raise your family however you want to. You cannot beat the heck out of your kids if that's your society or your view or how you want to. No, you beat up your kids. That's not right. You have to conform to the fact that we believe you shouldn't physically hurt your children in our society. That's the world we live in. Some people dislike that and some people don't care. So it's important to conform to society where safety is concerned. Beyond that, be who you want to be. Anyway, that's just my opinion. I'd love to hear yours down in the comments below. I'm Richard. Hi everybody, I'm Danger Ducky, and this is the part of the video where I remind you to comment, like, and subscribe. I'm also giving time for there to be links to the next video and subscriptions. You should comment, like, and subscribe, because for every 1,000 subscribers, this channel will buy a bracelet from For Ocean, and that will pull a pound of trash out of the ocean. It's a big ocean and there's a lot of trash there. We also buy medals from the Conqueror, and every one of those means that 5 trees are planted, so that we will have a cleaner world for you and me to live in. Danger Donkey says, be a good Samaritan, float like a butterfly, and comment, like, and subscribe!